All right, so today we're going to be talking about ratios and how we are going to write them. So a ratio is a comparison. So if you look at the pictures over here, the first thing we're looking at is we're going to have either some examples or some numbers, and we're going to be given what we're looking for. So this is forks to spoons. So we're comparing the number of forks to the number of spoons. So I could write this ratio. I have 3 forks, so I could write 3/1. All right, because I have 3 forks to 1 spoon. Now I could also write this, and you can see over here, these are the different ways we can write our ratios. I could write it as 3 and then the semicolon 1, or I could write 3/1. All right, these are all different ways that we can write ratios for what we're doing today. It doesn't matter which way you choose to write them. But if you do get to a point where you can reduce the numbers, please do so. All right, apples to oranges. So I see we have 3 apples to 2 oranges. So I can write that as 3/2, 3 with a semicolon 2, or 3/2. All right, next is dog to cats. So I have 1 dog and 2 cats. Now the order does matter here. If it said cats first, the number for cats would be the first number or the top number. And we could also look at the total. So I'm going to change this one. And I'm going to say boys to total. All right, that would be like total number of kids or total number of students. So that means I'd look at the number of how many boys there are in our group. So there are 2. To the total number of students we have, which is 6. And that would reduce to 1/3. So then I could continue to write my other different ways to write my ratios. And you don't need to write this, all 3 examples each time, but I'm just showing you the different formats that you can write this in. All right, so just pick one. We mostly will be working with fractions, but know that these 2 other ways to write our ratios are valid ways to write ratios. All right, and let's look at the last one. So cups to glasses. So I have 2 cups, 3 glasses. So I could write that as 2/3, 2/3, or 2/3. All right, so again, a ratio is a comparison. There are 3 different ways we can write these ratios. The order does matter. If you can reduce it, please do. But we will mostly be working with the fraction ratios moving forward. But please know that each of these are valid ways to write ratios. All right, so right here we have the number of students who participate in sports programs at Central High School is 520. The total number of students is 1850. Show how to find the athlete to student ratio to the nearest tenth. All right, so what this means is we have athletes to students. So the number of athletes is going to be on top, and the total number of students is on the bottom. So our athletes is 520, and our total number of students is 1850. All right, now here I can reduce this fraction. I can divide both of these numbers by 10. So that will leave me with 52/185. Now we're not going to worry about to the nearest tenth right now. We're not going to divide it out. So I'm happy with this as your ratio. Keep in mind, again, you can write this as 52/185 or 52/185. All right, all 3 are acceptable answers. All right, in Logan's High School, there are 190 teachers and 2,650 students. Show how to find the approximate student-teacher ratio at his school. Now, this is very tricky because it says student-teacher ratio. So that means whatever word comes first, that goes on the top. So even though the teacher information was given first, in this problem, they want the student's number first. So that's going to be the 2,650. That's going to go on the top. Then the teacher number will be on the bottom. All right, so again, the order does matter. So now I'm going to look and see if I can reduce this, which I can, which again, I can divide both of these numbers by 10. So that will give me 265 over 19. All right, so that's my ratio, my student to teacher ratio. Now again, I can write it as 265 to 19 or 265 to 19. All three are acceptable answers. All right, so what you're going to be doing for homework is you're going to read through these questions on the next 2 pages, and you're just going to set up your ratios. I want them reduced as much as possible, and it does not matter to me which way you write your ratios, whether it's as a fraction or whether it's something like this with the semicolon or something like this. So all 3 of these are valid ways to write your ratios. Just make sure you're reducing your numbers.